Okay, I think we've got most everyone. Look, here's a Brian. Here's Dream. Okay, welcome, welcome. As I was saying, I feel like we all really needed that break. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so dark today. But literally, I had, vacation shock at like noon yesterday. I'm puttering around doing stuff, and all of a sudden I realized I've got to teach tomorrow. I've got to get everything ready. It was just so nice to take a break. I don't know whether it's COVID or the work or whatever, but I just needed a break, and I'm sure you did too. So let's hope that we're all rested and relaxed. We are going to finish up our presentation on optimization and trade-offs, and I'm going to sneak a presentation on production and quality control in. This is because we are going to be moving into energy and power generation. And that is what our next project is going to be related to. But for this quarter, we've really been looking at sort of that engineering design loop and how you create a project. We use that to help us with our technology meets Black History Month projects. We use the engineering design loop with our Marble Run projects. So remember all those steps. Remember that it could be 6 steps or 12 steps. Some of the most important steps are sort of glossed over, and that is production and quality control. Somehow magically in that process, the product gets made, and then you need quality control to make sure that you are creating a high quality product. Okay, I will start my day with an exciting question. Which do you think is a more effective strategy in terms of quality control? That you just make your products as quick as you can and then look at them as they come off the assembly line and fix any of the problems that there are, if the stitching's not right or it didn't print correctly or whatever? Or should you have a procedure in place that continuously monitors quality control throughout your production process? So ideally, any product making it to the end of the production line is a perfect product and does not need to be fixed. Remember, setting up all that stuff takes time and money, right? If you're not setting up that much and you're just fixing things up as they come off the end, that doesn't take as much investment, but does the cost of having to fix all those things at the end of the line outweigh the cost that you made to develop a system where you're monitoring control, quality continuously? Anybody have a feeling on that?
I have one theory.
Sure.
So, the quality control stuff, instead of that, and like it will pay for itself over time. So it will pay for itself. Like the money saved, it will accumulate to pay for the machine itself.
Right. That is correct. That the idea is in the long term, having a proper system in place and making sure that your product is made properly, not that you just fix it at the end, is going to be a much more successful strategy for your business. Part of this is because your customer wants a quality product. And if you are delivering consistently poor products to the end of your production line and fixing them, the idea that those poor products are still going to make it out somehow seems pretty high. So I think that's an interesting way to look at it. If you only had a few, if I was making a prototype for my thing, I do not necessarily have to have quality control in place at every phase of production, right? I'm only making 3 of these things. It helps to do that, but I can probably fix 3 of them so that they are perfect relatively easily. And I need these to show. So if I'm producing 1,000 of those, I can't take the, if I spend a minute fixing each one, that's over 24 hours of fixing. So that's not good for your company. You want your products to be as high quality as you can when they come off the assembly line, okay? So what we're doing is we're going to look at optimization and trade-offs, and then production and quality control. Hopefully we'll have a little time at the end of class if you need to finish up anything on your marble run, or you would like to do your vocab quizzes. I did not do the production and quality control vocab for last week because I wanted us to have no homework over vacation. So that is due tomorrow, right? Today is a BAA, or no, not tomorrow, it's due on Friday. Sorry, my bad. If I could only count my days. Hang on. So that's not 4/7, that's 4/9. So that'll be due on Friday. And then the following Tuesday will be our production and quality control. Okay? So our homework is your optimizations. Oh, how do I have quality control down twice? Now I've really done it. Being nothing but confusing. Apologies. Okay, so optimization and trade-offs vocab is due on Friday, okay? Production and quality control is due the following class on Tuesday. Our objectives, you'll be assessing the differences between optimization and trade-offs, production and quality control, and how they work together. We will work on completing our marble run projects or anything else. Hang on. Where am I? There are my participants. We've got late participants. Oh, I know, they think it's lunchtime. Okay. Welcome everyone who just came in. Welcome for the post-vacation FOT. I think you're thinking that class starts at 12:30. That was in the old regime. Now class starts at 12:20 so that the buses can leave at, or students can leave at 2:30 to get to the buses at 2:40 because people are being in person. Thank you, James, for your apology. I hate to say I've gotten it confused myself, so I can't get too upset. Just remember, 12:20, we end at 1:20, and the next class is 1:30 to 2:30, so they have 10 minutes to make the buses at 2:40. All right? So glad to have everyone. Welcome. There is a warm-up in Canvas. Okay, we were just going over this, and I was correcting spellings, as I typically do. I don't know why I have such difficulties. Basically, we're going to finish up our optimization and trade-offs. We're going to also go through production and quality control quickly. I don't want to miss that. At the end of class, hopefully we'll have a little bit, and you can finish up anything on your marble runs or possibly work on your vocabs. So due next Friday is going to be the optimization and trade-offs, because I didn't want that due over vacation. Then you can do the production and quality control, 413. Okay, our homework is the optimizations and trade-offs vocab on 3.9, and oh, that's what I did. I put it all in do. I'm sorry. We will be assessing the differences between optimization and trade-offs and quality control and production. All right. Let me stop sharing, and I'm going to go to the warm-up. Or hang on. Let me show everyone where it is, because I know people sometimes don't follow me. Okay, so right here in the module, phase 4.6 is our warm-up. Okay, if I show it, I show all the answers. So I'm going to have to turn off sharing. I did figure out how to actually see my answers, which is a big help. Needless to say, they upgraded this last week or something. All right, so we have two exciting questions based on last week's presentation, which seems ages ago, I understand. All right, I've got my fabulous spinner in case nobody wants to answer. What is the best way to optimize a design? When we were looking at how to optimize things last time, it told us what the optimum way to do that is. So what is the best way to optimize a design? Is it A, using a mathematical model, B, using a displacement model, C, using trial and error, or D, using scientific method? What is the best way to optimize? You can sing out or put it in the chat. And if I don't hear from anyone, I will call on someone. I really don't know why I'm so dark today.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
is trial and error just trying it out until you find a successful
Plugging and chugging, correct. That you're gonna see if you can fix this one, then you're gonna see if you can fix that one. There's no particular methodology to trial and error. Okay, so anyone have an idea here? Which one of these is the best way to optimize a design? Think about that question of how to cover all the different scenarios. If we were just using trial and error, could we do that systematically and try and cover everything?
Oh yes, the scientific method.
No, scientific method isn't about optimizing. Scientific method is about proving a hypothesis. So you could say, so you're right, you could say, the way that this is designed is the optimal design, and then test it through scientific method to make sure that it was the optimal design. For us, what we're talking about here, and I just don't want to spend too much time on it, is the idea of a mathematical model that they said last time, the best way to optimize a design is with a mathematical model. And that is because you can be changing the inputs sort of not infinitely, but you can test a very wide array of possibilities and see the results. Typically, what you are looking for, that your results are falling within certain constraints or they are falling outside of those constraints. Inside the constraints is probably the optimal. Outside are the less than optimal solutions, okay? So it's just that idea of trying to use a systematic way of checking, is this the perfect design? Let's say it's an airplane wing. What is the drag coefficient? Have we created the wing that has the least drag and the most lift? I would imagine are the things that we are trying to optimize on a plane wing. All right. So question 2. are being small and short-lived, but having a lot of kids? All right, I think I could have phrased this a little better. So I'm asking, what are being short-lived and having a lot of kids? Is that an example of a beta family, an example of trade-offs, or an example of a nuclear family? Anybody have an idea on this one? Oh, Martin's in the waiting room.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome. Somebody needs to be brave. How about Alexander? For some reason, you're up on my screen. What do you think it is? What is being small and short-lived, but having a lot of kids? Is that an example of a beta family, trade-offs, or a nuclear family? Any idea, Alexander?
The first one.
First one, a beta family,
I mean the third one.
nuclear family.
Yeah.
Okay. It's anybody have any ideas on that? Do we think that nuclear family is the right thing?
Yeah.
Being small and short-lived, but having lots of kids makes you a nuclear family because you're just radioactively reproducing? Anyone?
Yeah, I think it's nuclear family.
Which one do you think?
I think it's nuclear family.
Okay. Well, I hate to say a nuclear family is a mother, father, and child. That is your, typically 2 children. That's your nuclear family. The nucleus of the family is the father, mother, and child. Okay. This is just trade-offs. Think about what our lecture was. We've talked about optimizing, and then I wanted to talk about trade-offs. So again, I apologize. I don't think I worded this very well, but it's the idea that if I'm small and short-lived, typically if you're small in this world, a lot of bigger things are interested in eating you. If I don't live very long and everyone wants to eat me, am I going to survive on this planet? And I think the answer is no. That if you're small and short-lived, the only way that you will stick around on this planet is to have a lot of children. So that is a trade-off, that in order to be small and short-lived, you can't have a normal breeding cycle. You can't have one baby every year like a human. You have to have like 10 babies 10 times a year. I believe that's probably about what a mouse can do. I think gestation in a mouse is about 2 weeks or so. It is amazing, the number of mice in the world. There is a reason that everything eats a mouse. But it was that graphic of the table we were looking at showing the trade-offs. If you're small and short-lived, you need to have a lot of children. If you're large and long-lived, you only have a few children. You don't need to be replacing your population as fast. So that's the elephant. Okay, great job. Remember, try your warm-ups and I give you full credit, okay? So here we are. Well, let's go into everyone's favorite. I want to finish this one up. It has some really interesting stuff. Okay. Let me get back to sharing. Anybody, any problems, questions, issues before we get into this? So sit back. I know you're in your post-vacation malaise. Let me work on the idea of trade-offs, all right? A trade-off can be defined as something that encompasses a choice or exchange for one quality over another. A trade-off. So I would rather have blue eyes than a big nose. For example, the decision to favor the best material regardless of weight in order to achieve maximum strength may require a designer to make a trade-off of costs. Cost is often the driving force of the need for trade-offs when you're optimizing. You need to sell your product. If I want to make my product out of titanium, titanium costs about $1,000 a pound. If I make my product out of aluminum, aluminum costs about $3 a pound. My product is going to be much more affordable and easier for me to make a profit on if I am making it out of the cheaper material. Will it work as well or function as well? I don't think so. Using the titanium would make it a better product. It is just possibly too expensive to sell profitably. In order to maintain established requirements, trade-offs are made in order to meet the characteristics of an optimum design. Okay, so in order to maintain established requirements, what does that mean? It means if we want to create something according to what our guidelines are, our established requirements, oftentimes trade-offs are made in order to meet the characteristics of an optimum design. I can't get molybdenum for my project. I need to use something else, okay? So here's this graph. This is the few kids, many kids. So if you are short-lived with many kids, oh, that is a strategy, but that is a trade-off. You cannot be large. You cannot only have children every once in a while. You are going to be continuously in either gestating children or raising children. Kelly. Okay, here's a couple. Big truck. A trade-off is that you're going to have to spend more on gas. Staying up late playing video games. The trade-off is that you don't get as much sleep. Trade-off building a new community on wetlands is that you're going to destroy the habitat and you're not going to be able to enjoy the quality of life that those wetlands bring you. Okay, now, okay, I'm going to call around for this. We got an easy one for the start. That's the wrong spinner.
For the largest selection of
No, I
roads in
don't
Northern
want
Virginia,
that.
visit Great Front Nova in Manassas.
There we go. Oscar Rivas. Oscar, can you tell me a trade-off of buying a large truck? What's one of the trade-offs of buying a large truck? You can use the one I just gave. Oscar, you out there? I know you came in. Well, we will attribute that his mic may not be working. Camilla. Camilla Acuna, you get the easy question. What's a trade-off of buying a large truck? Camilla? So you love your new truck, but what's a problem with your truck that you have to just take in stride?
It's too big?
It could be too big. You might live in the city and you can't park it if it's too big. So a problem of a large truck is it's large. That is a trade-off. You are not getting a truck that is going to be easy to park. If you wanted a truck that was easy to park, you could get like a little Subaru truck or something. Great job. Okay, let's see who else gets to do this. I think you're here. Nope. Jessica. Jessica, can you tell me a trade-off of buying a boat?
I don't know.
Well, think about what's one of the things that boats do.
They
Let's say it's a big motorboat.
mhm.
What happens when you pull up to the pump?
I don't know.
You're gonna have to, well, you got to buy gas, and boat gas is expensive. Trust me. And some boats have really big gas tanks. So, like the truck, a trade-off of buying a boat is you're gonna have to buy gas for it. A trade-off is, particularly with boats, you're gonna have to maintain it. You're gonna have to pay for a slip where you can keep your boat, or a trailer to put it on. There's a lot of extra things that goes on with boats. You need to paint them. You need to have them hauled and have the gut scraped off them. There's a lot of, trade-offs. Okay. Here we go. Here's an interesting one. Alexander, I got you before, but I'm going to force you again. Alexander Garcia, what would a trade-off of building a new store be? If you had a store and you were going to build a new one, what's a trade-off? Any ideas? Alexander? Dream, my friend Dream Miller. What would a trade-off of building a new store be if I already have a store? Just something that might be a problem for me.
Something that might be a problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or an advantage. Yeah, so if I've got one store that's doing well and I'm thinking of opening up another one, what am I worried about?
business.
Business.
Like,
So once I have two stores, maybe half of my clients are going to go to my other store, and I'm going to need to do more advertising or something to get people to stay in my store.
yeah.
Some other thoughts are, I might have a great manager in my store who makes it really easy. I don't have to do anything. He manages everything. If I open a new store, that manager may need to run the new store for me. That's a great thing for me. It will make me successful, but it's a trade-off. I didn't really have to do that much to run my store when I had this great manager, but now I'm opening a second one and I'm losing him. That's a trade-off. Do I want that cushy life with no work, or do I want to make more money? Great job. Let's see, one more here. Brian Tejada Cornell, can you tell me a trade-off of going to college? Brian, are you out there? What would a trade-off of going to college be? Think of what might prevent you from going to college. Brian, got any ideas? We'll guess that his mic isn't working. Ooh, I don't even think Shepsu's here. Let me just Stephen, you are here. Stephen Chacon Rubio.
Yes.
Stephen, do you have an idea of what a trade-off of going to college would be?
The expenses that come with it.
Right. So it's going to cost you. If I stayed home, I wouldn't have to put out this money. Maybe I can get a scholarship. There are a lot of trade-offs. Maybe my mom is not that well, and I need to take care of her, but I also want to get my education and be able to get a good job. so I can really take care of her in the end. What do? Trade-offs are just decisions you need to make of one thing versus another. They can both be things that you need, and you're just going to have to prioritize which one is more important to you. So that's a lot of what today is about. Pick any two. This is a weird system for dealing with things where you can't have everything you want. So the first thing they're going to show you is one of my favorites, and that is called the good, fast, cheap pyramid. And what the good, fast, cheap pyramid is, ideally, this is not a good representation of the good, fast, cheap pyramid. Good, fast, and cheap need to be the three corners of a pyramid, not the sides. The idea is you can have two, but you can't have three. You can have good and fast, but it won't be cheap. You can have cheap and good, but it won't be fast. You can have fast and cheap, but it won't be good. All right? You can optimize that. But this is a rule. And what is interesting, particularly for you guys who are going to be going out in the workforce at some point soon, know that every manager you work for is going to ask you to produce good, fast, and cheap. If you can, they can sell that all day long. There is a reason that you can't. You can't do all three because there are costs involved. If you want to make it cheap and fast, and yet you want to make it good, it is the cost in humanity. The person who is going to have to be making that to make it good as fast as they can with no pay. That is what I mean by the cost of humanity. In order to make fast and cheap good, you would have to work for no pay and work long hours. Okay? So the idea is you can optimize. I can make this, fast, relatively fast and good, and it may not be cheap, but it won't be too expensive. It's that kind of thing. We are optimizing. Okay? Remember that word? So time, quality, and cost. That's very similar to the good, fast, cheap pyramid. How much time do you have? How high a quality do you need? How much money do you want to spend? High quality is going to cost money, particularly if you want in a short period of time. Let's see what else we have. So here's a tricky one. Somebody want to answer that? Oh, look, Barco. What can I do for you, Barco?
Yeah, what did you say was the best way to optimize the design?
Hang on. What was that?
It was like, I had a quick question from the warm-up. What was like the best way to optimize the design?
An arithmetic, a mathematical model.
Okay, thank you.
And the reason that you want a mathematical model is the idea that you can put, like an infinite string of parameters in there and test it and see which one of these thousands of things produces the best result. If you were trying to do that by just plugging and chugging, trial and error, it just takes a very long time. Where a mathematical model ideally lets you be more organized and do your checking on a much more refined and strategic scale. So since you're asking me about that, I'm going to ask you, which one, if you could only pick two of health, wealth, and love, which would you pick?
Probably wealth and love.
Wealth and love. All right, let's try Daniel Andrews, if you're still in there. What would you pick? Wealth, health, or love?
Probably health.
That's a good, but you got to pick one of the other two. Which one's it going to be? Are people going to like you, or are you going to be rich? You going to be Scrooge, or?
Oh, love then.
Yeah, what? It's a very difficult choice. So you want to be poor and healthy and in love. Being poor is underrated. It often depends on where you are. Being poor in a big city is very devastating because everything in a city costs you money. When I worked in Madagascar, I did a lot of work in local villages. Local villages have very little. Their huts were mostly corrugated tin put together with palm fronds, but everyone supported each other. Nobody went hungry. People were loved. Again, the more simplistic tribal communities are places where health and love really would serve you well because you don't need the wealth. You don't need that in a small village. You can be a person of substance without money, by the strength of your character. So it's hard, health and wealth with no love, basically means that you're Scrooge from A Christmas Carol. Scrooge was perfectly alive and in theory, wasn't going to die anytime soon and was incredibly wealthy, but nobody loved him. I don't know what it would like to live in a world where nobody loved you. It's a weird one. Some of these are very interesting. So here's one. Social life, good grades, or enough sleep. I think a student has a good command of this one. Neo Dejeune, what do you think? What's it for you? So you can have two: social life, good grades, or enough sleep.
Enough sleep.
You get two.
Oh.
Social life or good.
Social life and enough sleep. Because I think sleep is really important.
Yeah. And an interesting thing is having a good social life, being able to work with other people, understanding people and how to work with them. Those are considered soft skills, right? Good grades are more hard skills that you are showing what you know, but those soft skills may get you further in life. They may get you the opportunities that your good grades might not have. These are really tough decisions, particularly for a teenager. What do I want? Do I want to be successful, which is in theory what good grades is telling me? Or do I want to enjoy myself and hang out with my friends and still get enough sleep? It's tricky. You guys have had such a difficult year in terms of social life. You've been denied your social life. All my kids do is sit on their games, but that's because that's where all their friends are. They don't even want to go over to their friend's house because they're like, I can play with them just as well from here. But these are things we all deal with. This is a weird one. This, as far as I can tell, is related to illegal jobs. So is your job enjoyable and has great pay? I believe it is saying that is typically illegal. That illegal and enjoyable jobs get great pay. But this is just one of those trade-offs. Do you love your work? I was very lucky. I love biology, I love television, and I was able to incorporate both in what I do. So I got to enjoy. I would not say I had great pay, but it was okay, and it certainly was legal. So basically, they're telling you that enjoyable and legal is not going to be great pay. Great pay and legal is not going to be enjoyable. So this is like being a doctor, being a lawyer. I would think being a doctor is a little more enjoyable because you see the results of your work more. Okay, so the personal takeaways are that there are trade-offs in life. Maybe you want a Starbucks. Maybe a 40-cent coffee would be just as good. Maybe that's really all you need. I love this, again, just showing how old these slides are. For one, that your Starbucks is $3, but that apparently someone's out there selling coffee for 40 cents a cup because there's 7 cups here for $3. But here, do you get new tires for your car so that your car is safe, or do you go on a vacation? Vacation's certainly a lot more fun. Nobody wants to buy tires, but is being safe in your car more important to you? Now, this is a strange place where being single versus having a family might play into your decision. If it's just me and I'm not worried, what the heck, I'll go another couple 100 miles on those tires. If I get a blowout, I'll handle it. If I have my whole family in that car, I might be a little more worried about something happening to my tire and maybe hurting someone in my family. When it's only you, it's easier to be cavalier, okay? So here we are, we're back with the finding your perfect mate traits. So optimization, perfect traits are funny, wealthy, young, healthy, educated, brave, and confident. Those are pretty good for an ideal mate. All right. Why is this not? Oh, there we go. Now, trade-offs. So a soulmate is a nice concept, but in reality, there are thousands of almost perfect people for you. So maybe instead of funny, they're just wealthy, young, and educated. So you keep taking them off until there's no one there. Here is a list of trade-off traits. So you wanted someone that was funny, maybe someone who's a little silly would be okay. Instead of wealthy, they're financially okay. They're making it through. Instead of healthy, they are active. You know, they probably get sick every once in a while. Maybe they're a high school graduate or a dropout. Maybe they're wimpy, but very fast. They can run away. I don't think I want to be married to the wimpy person who runs away really fast. So for you, where is the trade-off? Let's say that this is for your, your bride or groom to be. Which one are you going to give up on? Attractive, smart, or rich? I think usually the one that goes is rich, because money doesn't mean that much when you want to live with someone. It helps, it makes things easier, but if you want to live and be with someone, the idea that they are rich, it's a perk, it's a bonus, it's not the core, it's not why you want to be with them. Time, quality, and money. Wow. I'm right. I have peace of mind. I have a job. How about that one? Do you want to have peace of mind and a job and know that you're not right, that you're not doing? I mean, I hate to say vaguely, this is the story of our last administration. But they seem to feel that having peace of mind and a job, that just agreeing was good, not that you needed to be right or stick with the law. How about I'm right, I have peace of mind, I have a spouse. That's an even more dangerous one. Trust me, I have a spouse. When you're working with a loved one, sometimes being right has to take back seat. And that's a problem that I wrestle with myself. I like to be right. I want to be right. I feel that I put a lot of effort into educating myself, etc. So I have difficulty letting my wife be right when I feel that I'm right. But that's the idea, that if you want to have peace of mind and a spouse, sometimes you've got to give up the I'm right thing. Okay. So I'm learning too. All right. Optimization is designing for perfection. The entire process of creating should include optimization from the initial idea to the final product or system. The same could also be true of quality control. From the initial idea to the final product, you should be thinking about how to make the highest quality product. A trade-off involves a choice or exchange for one quality over another. I want my golf ball to be incredibly hard, so it needs to be made out of titanium, not aluminum. All right? Aluminum is too soft. In order to maintain established requirements, trade-offs are made in order to meet the characteristics of an optimum design. Typically, an optimum design always has some sort of, it's trade-offs, or I'm trying to think of the right word, give and take, let's say, that you're not going to be able to get everything you want into your design. Quality control is a planned process to ensure that a product, service, or system meets established criteria. Quality control is concerned with how well a product, service, or system conforms to specifications and tolerances required by the design. Okay, that's a big one. Quality control is concerned with how well a product or service or system conforms to specifications and tolerances required by the design, right? It's all about fitting it into that perfect box. ISO 9000 is a family of standards for quality management systems used worldwide. Okay? Woohoo! We made it through phase one. All right. Any questions, issues on quality control? Actually, that was trade-offs and optimization. Everybody get that? That there are always going to be trade-offs when you try and make when you try and optimize your design. You're going to need to choose, one or the other. Are you using titanium? Are you using aluminum? What's your budget? Know that money is often the reason that you need trade-offs. Sometimes it is the idea that your product needs to be as lightweight as possible. Okay? This is a much easier lecture, so don't worry. This goes by pretty quickly. Anybody, questions, issues, problems? All right, let's jump into everyone's favorite, production and quality control. Okay, now coming from the film and television world, I find their definition of production a little strange, but we've seen that before. This is a technology class. Technology definitions are often a little different than the normal definition of the word. So for us, production can be defined as the processes and methods used to transform tangible inputs, raw materials, semi-finished goods, sub-assemblies, and intangible inputs, ideas, information, and knowledge into goods or services. Okay? That is what production is. Production is the process and methods used to transform tangible inputs, stuff that needs to be turned into something, raw materials, semi-finished goods need to be finished, sub-assemblies need to be turned into primary assemblies, and the intangible ideas, the inputs, the ideas, the information and knowledge all go into goods or services, okay? The resources for technology are used in this process to create an output that is suitable for use or has exchange value. Look, there's Shepsu. All right. The resources for technology are used in this process to create an output that is suitable for use or has exchange value. I believe that is saying that it's either ready to be used or you could sell the product. You could trade it. You could exchange it. You could use it for a barter. Okay, the basic systems model. All systems include input, process, and output. During the process, the 7 technological resources are used. What are the 7 technological resources? Now, my students from the first semester, we did a lot of work on the basic systems model. We looked at open loop systems and we looked at closed loop systems. Those are things like an automatic lawn sprinkler versus the heating system in your house. So systems have an input, the desired result, a process, the action part of a system that combines resources that respond to the input to produce a result, and the output, the actual result. Okay? What is that in the middle? Those are the 7 resources: people, capital, time, information, energy, materials, and tools and machines. They always cheat on the last one. It's 2 things. It should be 8, but no, somehow it's 7. Okay, so that is really interesting. So these things are essential to the creation of technology. The 7 technological resources: people, capital, time, information, energy, materials, tools, and machines. For any technological event to occur, the presence of these 7 items will be present. Okay? On a farm, in manufacturing, in networking, in making money, in emojis. Those aren't really emojis. I don't know what you'd call them. Icons. All right. This is supposed to be a funny thing of a production line. This is I Love Lucy, and they're working in a chocolate factory, and they keep increasing the speed of the line, and they don't want the chocolates they haven't done to get through to the next person, so they're stuffing their hats and eating as many as they can. Sadly, if we go to the link, it says it's not available. So production can be a production line. Production may be found in economics, ecology, entertainment, and abstract systems. Factors of production, factor inputs. Factors of production are the inputs available to supply goods and services in an economy. Natural resources available for production, okay? Human input into the process is the labor. Entrepreneurs organize factors of production and take risks. Those are enterprise. Goods used in the supply of other products and tech, capital management. Okay, in economics, production, outline of industrial organization, the act of making goods, goods and services. Production is the act of manufacturing goods. Production as statistic, gross domestic product. GDP is something you hear a lot on the news. It's the way that we measure what a country has made. What is your gross domestic product? Okay, a production line. These are all examples of what production would be in economics. Okay, in production, there are 2 categories of production: manufacturing and construction. Now, again, as a film person, I take umbrage here since we produce movies, which are neither manufacturing nor construction. But let's take it at face value. So this is looking basically in the broad technological world. So there are 2 categories of production: a production line where we are producing a product like a car or a VCR or a game box or an iPhone. And then there is construction, which is usually outdoors on site. Okay, so factories are inside production. Everything happens under a roof. Everything is very controlled. Job sites are outside production. There is less control over the job site, less control over your product. Other people can come and influence what you have done. This is an example. A beautiful home site, people can break into it and vandalize it just for fun, or it's fun for them. So could this happen? This is actually something I have made a video program about. These are called manufactured homes. These homes are not built outside. They are built in a factory that is in a building. They're a big warehouse, and they construct pieces of houses that can then be bolted together to make one continuous house. The reason this is helpful is that vandalism and mess. When you are working inside a structure, you have control. No one is going to break in and vandalize, or they are going to have to break into a structure in order to vandalize this. They can't just walk up to it on a building site and start banging away on it. Also, the idea that the mess is controlled. It is much easier to have a fixed methodology of working in an environment where nothing changes. On a construction site, every single house is on a little different piece of land with a different exposure. There are going to be different issues. In a manufacturing facility, you have taken out those issues. This is why for film, we like working on a sound stage. When you work on a sound stage with artificial lighting, you can work in there for 24 hours and it doesn't matter if it's day or night. If you're working in the exterior, the sun has to be in the right place. It can't be raining. You can't have people with lawnmowers around you. It's a lot more difficult to control the outdoor world. Okay, this is a home construction factory. This is inside construction. So modern day production is typically indoors and using a lot of technology, using computers, using robots. Historical production was long lines, and well, I think the original assembly line did not move. The workers moved to the pieces, but then they figured out that having the product move down a line was a better way to do it. Okay, this is trying to look at, oh shoot, class is over. Oh, I'm late. I'm sorry. We're just finishing up. I can finish this. So this is a line worker, which is less skilled. You don't have to do homework. You don't have to think much, and you can walk away after work. Or you could be a manager, but you need more education. You need further education, management skills, problem solving, past experience. High levels of skill for a manager and a high wage. Lower level skills, lower wage for the line worker. All right, we are done. Okay? So sorry for going late. Okay, any questions, problems? Just work on your vocab quizzes, get anything done in the past. You can reach out to me for help. Dream, I want to see your technology paper.
Thank you, Mr. Swift.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Swift.
Bye. So good to see you at home.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. By the way, Mr. Swift, I just moved.
Oh, where'd you move to?
It's Germantown, really far away from here.
Wow, that's going to be a commute.
Yeah, like so like I asked my counselor, she said you require to switch schools.
Hey, that could be. German, you'll like it though. It's beautiful up there. You'll have a lot more
Yeah.
room and
It
trees,
is, you know,
grass.
yes.
Okay, well, good to hear. Congratulations.
Thank you. Bye.
Jessica, Perla? Jessica, Perla, Kelly? Anything I can help you with?